Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today, this wonderful Monday in October. We'll just wait maybe a couple of seconds for everybody to log on with their audio and connect. We have amazing presenters and collaborators, key partner stakeholders with us today, and we're very excited about this session, sharing valuable information with all of you. So just a few seconds while everybody joins with their audio. There is a Q&A box where you can add your questions. There's a chat box as well. So please feel free to add your questions in there, and we'll spend some time at the end of the session answering those questions together. All right. So again, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Bessie Nasiopoulos. I'm a case manager, professional development lead here at Care Center and an instructor at the TTP course, and I'll be the moderator for today's information session. A very warm welcome to all of you, our internationally educated nurses, our healthcare employers, colleagues, educators, valued stakeholders from TMU, our program manager, Rolel Mobader, and our professional practice lead, Ruth Wadchak. Your presence here reflects the strong community of support and shared commitment to empowering IENs as you continue your professional journey in Ontario. We're very pleased to have you join us here for this exciting information session where we'll be exploring the collaboration between Care Center for IENs and Toronto Metropolitan University, the Chang School of Continuing Education, a partnership that supports IENs as we navigate your professional journey here in Ontario. Today, we'll be focusing on the Transition to Practice in Ontario course, an engaging interactive program designed to help IENs, like you, strengthen your understanding of the Canadian healthcare system, build confidence in your professional communication, and prepare for the successful integration into the workplace. Before we get started, we would like to take a minute for our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are all gathered here on the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples who are the past, present, and future caretakers of this land that we all call Canada. We acknowledge that we are gathered today virtually for this information session with participants attending from coast to coast to coast on the ancestral and unceded territories of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all Indigenous peoples across this land. We recognize that we each have a role to play in the path to decolonization and ask you to take a few seconds here to reflect upon and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how we can each in our own way move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Now, to start off, I'd like to invite our very one and only Ruth Wadchak, our professional practice lead here at Care Center, to share with us how this collaboration started and how it supports IENs in Ontario. Ruth Wadchak's 6-decade nursing career spans community acute care administration and teaching. In her role as professional practice lead at Care Center for IENs, she supports IENs with a federally funded pre-arrival pass program and the provincially funded STARS program on their journey to registration and employment. Care Center initiatives focus on addressing the multiple challenges faced by IENs as they prepare for licensure and workforce reentry while supporting healthcare employers to create an inclusive, welcoming workplace environment. Co-author of Globalization and Integration of IENs, Transition of Internationally Educated Nurses into Practice, What We Need to Do to Evolve as an Inclusive Profession Over the Next Decade, Nursing Leadership, Volume 34. I could go on and on here, Ruth, but I'll pass the floor to you. And we're all here very excited to hear about the TTP, the Transition to Practice course.
Well, thank you, Bessie, for that very nice introduction. Just to make sure all of you are in the right place and to give you an idea of how your time is going to be spent, we're going to do a little bit of a review in terms of how this collaboration came about, a little bit more discussion about this 9th registration requirement and more detail about their transition to practice course. You'll also be hearing about some of the benefits that you have taking this course through Toronto Metropolitan University and what that university offers you. We'll be looking at some economic supports, which are always important. And then most excitingly, we're going to hear from a couple of participants who've actually been through the course, and of course, a Q&A opportunity at the end. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat box, and Bessie will bring them to our attention as we go along. So you probably already know that 24 and 25 have been very exciting years for internationally educated nurses, as the College of Nurses strives to expedite registration and really removes some of the barriers that hold our IANs back from really entering into the workforce. We need you badly, and I think that there have been some exciting things happen. Last fall, there was an announcement, as you probably know, that there was a recognition of international education as equivalent for many of our internationally educated applicants. However, in thinking about that, the CNO appreciated that while this would expedite the registration process, it might well remove the opportunity that some of you would have to work in the healthcare system and to become familiar with it. So some of you would work in a variety of roles in the healthcare system. So it was really looking at what can the CNO do to expedite or to provide support for our IANs to really look at successful integration. And that was when the notion for the transition to practice course evolved. Care Center was involved with the CNO in looking at which of the entry to practice competencies would be best addressed by this course. And following that discussion, Care reached out to TMU to discuss a possible collaboration and that we would deliver this course together. As you probably know, Care Center is the only bridging program that addresses internationally educated nurses exclusively. We don't deal with other internationally educated professionals, and we've been in the business for over 20 years. So we really had a lot to contribute along with our university partners who are experts in the actual helping the development, the delivery of the course. So we worked diligently on a, should I say, exhaustive submission to the CNO, but a really an excellent process. We submitted our proposal to the CNO, and in fact, the submission was approved last fall. So last winter, once the submission was approved, the CNO had to wait for final approval from the government to move forward with the changes. And in fact, the government did move forward. And the CNO Council approved the implementation of the change as of, 1st of April of this year for anyone applying to be an RN or RPN for the first time in Ontario. So that includes all nurses registering to practice in Ontario. Of course, you are our audience that we're most concerned about, our internationally educated colleagues, but just to know that this is a requirement for domestically educated nurses as well. We worked very hard along with TMU and my esteemed colleagues, all of whom you see at the top of the screen, to develop the curriculum, which we believe is really a comprehensive curriculum. And I'm hoping you'll hear more about that from our two students who've had the opportunity to participate in this course. I think there's yes. So this course was actually offered first in the spring of this year, and it continues to be offered every semester. And we certainly hope that you will take this information when you're making your decision about taking the TTP and appreciate the added benefits that you have through the offering of at Toronto Metropolitan University. So meeting the 9th requirement, I mentioned to you that all nurses must meet this requirement, but there are several different ways of meeting it. So if you completed a baccalaureate or diploma program in nursing in the past 3 years in Ontario, i.e. you're an Ontario graduate, you would be considered to have met the requirement. You don't need to do the requirement again. If you are registered anywhere in Canada, so anywhere from coast to coast, any one of our provinces or territories, and you apply for registration with the CNO, you would be considered to have met that requirement as well. If you've practiced nursing within the last 3 years in Ontario, you will be considered to having met that. So if you're already registered, you don't have to go back and redo it. What is important to point out here is if you have been working as an RPN and are now applying for RN registration, you will be considered to have met this requirement through your RPN practice. So you don't have to complete that requirement. And of course, if you've completed one of the CNO approved transition to practice courses, you will have met the requirement. And an exciting piece too is that this course is valid for 5 years from completion. So you can do this anytime in your journey, even if you haven't yet come to Canada. Maybe you're still in your home country. You can complete this because it has a 5-year lifespan. And finally, you may have the depending on your gaps in terms of meeting registration requirements, you may complete one of the education pathways that are offered by some of the other academic institutions starting in the summer of 2025. And that completion would be valid for 3 years. So in developing this TTP course, keeping in mind that the focus of it is to provide our internationally educated colleagues, you, my friends, with information that you will need to successfully integrate into the Canadian workplace. This is not a course that's looking at clinical practice. Those competencies, I have no doubt you're completely competent in, but there are specifics around practice in Ontario that you may not be all that familiar with. And this is just a couple of them here. One is the level of autonomy expected in the practice setting. Now, Bessie mentioned that I've been a nurse for 6 decades, a very long time. And when I started my nursing practice, the culture of nursing was very similar to the culture that many of you might have been coming from, where, and I hesitate to use this, but I will anyway, where the doctor said, jump, and you said, how high? Now, it's very exciting that we all now work as a team with equal responsibility, with equal authority within the team. So it's something that you and I had to get used to it, and you're going to have to get used to it as well, to really be able to speak up autonomously, function autonomously, speak up for the patient through the lens of nursing. So as I say, it takes a while. It's not something that's easy, especially depending on the experience you've had before coming to Ontario. But it's something that you all can accomplish. You all have the strength, you all have the knowledge, you all have the critical thinking skills. But there will be that expectation of autonomous practice. And also there are some other particular, not idiosyncrasies across the country. They're pretty much the same across the country, but again, may be different from what you're used to. One is the right to make informed decisions about treatment. So in Ontario, there is no age of consent in Ontario. And what that means is that any client or patient who is about to engage in a treatment or a procedure, if they have the capacity to understand that procedure and the potential outcomes and risks, if they're capable of making that decision, then they can make that decision for themselves. Some of you may be used to coming from areas where the age of consent was perhaps 16 or 18, whatever, but that's not the situation here. And so that takes a little bit of getting used to. The other thing is about the sharing of information. Again, back when I started practice, we'll just say hypothetically, I'm terminally ill. The doctor says to my husband, oh my goodness, Ruth is terminally ill. And my husband says, oh, well, we can't tell her because it might upset her. That isn't the way it is anymore. That information belongs to the patient. And the patient is the one that can share information. So those are some of the things that and this is a broad brush, believe me, but some of the things that maybe were not part of your practice and that you will be expected to be familiar with when you practice in Ontario. So just to give you an idea of the kinds of content in the course. Of course, once you've successfully completed it, you will have met the 9th registration. You will have gained the knowledge, skills, and judgment needed to be a competent and capable practitioner in Ontario. So some of the topic areas are therapeutic nurse-client relationship. There will be some content around professional practice and what professionalism and accountability means. We'll be looking at some medication review as well, and also documentation, and again, what's expected in documentation, looking at different kinds of documentation and what the expectations are, the confidentiality and privacy, which I've just previously alluded to. So these are the kind of topic areas that you can expect in this very comprehensive course, preparing you to successfully transition into practice in Ontario. As Bessie mentioned, this course was developed by CARE in collaboration with the Toronto Metropolitan University and the Chang School, and I'm proud to say that I am a graduate of Toronto Metropolitan University. Some of you may know it by its former title of Ryerson University, and I still struggle with the new name, but I'm a proud graduate. I'm a proud graduate of Ryerson, and I really can attest to the wonderful support and the quality of the teaching and the academic experience that you will have. And I think it will really, really help you, as I say, in terms of some of those tricky transition issues. The other thing I want to just mention as well, so for those of you who may already be registered and not required to take this course as a requirement, it may be something, if you're experiencing any kind of challenges at work, this may be a course you want to look at because it may address some of those very areas that you're finding a little bit of a challenge. And I would suggest that you have a conversation with your CARE Center for Internationally Educated Nurses case manager who could help you look at how this might be helpful to you. This has been a very exciting transition. I think the offerings have been most successful, and as I say, you're going to hear more about that as we move along.
So just again, to gain a brief overview, this course is offered through the Toronto Metropolitan University, and it is now a 6-week course. It is fully online, but the wonderfully added benefit to it is the weekly 3-hour synchronous sessions. This is an opportunity through technology, through Zoom sessions, that you have the opportunity to actually interact with the instructor, to meet with your colleagues, and to work in breakout rooms to really ask some of those questions, to get clarification of information, and also to share your experience as well. They happen weekly at a scheduled time. The instructor will send out all the information, but it really is an important, wonderful opportunity to really solidify and integrate that learning. The 6-week course looks at the learning theory, of course. There's readings, there are assignments, and then, of course, there are the live discussion applications through the synchronized sessions, which, again, we will hear from our participants shortly, but we've also gotten really important, valuable, positive feedback that this is really so valuable, as they say, in integrating the learning as opposed to solely online delivery. So this is a really exciting piece about it.
Why is synchronous delivery so terrific? Because it gives you real-time interaction. You can ask questions, you can clarify concepts, you can chat with the instructor, you get that immediate feedback. You can build a community with other colleagues. And we know that several of the students who participate in this have gone on to create a community of learning. So maybe they get together, maybe they're preparing to do the exam if they haven't done the NCLEX exam. They're preparing for other kinds of things. So it's an opportunity to build that kind of community. And it helps you with structure. I'm a person who needs structure. I need to know that there's an expectation at a certain time and a certain date. And so I think it really helps you in terms of organizing your time. You have to build that calendar, build in your study time, build in your synchronous delivery time as well. And I think it really helps give structure and helps you move forward with your learning in an organized way, because it is easy. I like the word versus drifting. It's a little bit easy to get caught up in all those other responsibilities that you have. I know nurses the best of any group, and they have some of the most complicated lives. And you, as internationally educated nurses, are moving to a new country. You perhaps are supporting a family, looking for ways to integrate children, various responsibilities. So this really helps you structure your time. and a better integration of the theory. So our live case studies, lots of discussion, as they say, breakout rooms, opportunities to come back and share information from those assignments to really hear what the rationales are for various responses. And I think it all in all, it really adds to your final outcome. What at the end of this, we want you to come out with this information that's going to help you integrate into practice. And I think this really helps do that. And of course, it's an opportunity to really connect with the instructors, because the instructors are, in fact, as I'm thinking about them, significant numbers of them are internationally educated nurses themselves. They've lived your journey. So Bessie, who's one of our, you see at the top here, she is one of the TTP instructors at TMU, and she's an IN. So she understands your journey, and she can share that with you, and she can, as they say, really understand some of the challenges you had, as well as sharing her extensive knowledge to really enhance your understanding. So it's a great course delivered in a most comprehensive way. One thing I wanted to mention that's important, and we reinforce that with all the instructors, is that although there's a set curriculum for the course, each of you comes with a variety of experience. Excuse me. Come with a variety of experience in education. And so it was really important that while we want to cover the curriculum, we want to really look at what do you bring to the course. So there is what we call a pre and post course quiz. Now, it's important to mention that your success on that is not going to impact on your success on the course. The purpose of this quiz is to really help you identify where the areas that you might need to focus on, but also to help the instructor see the areas that she might need to focus on in the course. And then at the end, of course, it helps us in terms of determining whether we've helped you fill those gaps. So it really is there to support your development as a study guide. So as I say, please don't get upset about quiz. Gee, I didn't do very well. It not doing very well isn't a worry. It's what you take away from that in terms of building your study guide and moving forward. In the class, you can expect, usually the class begins with the instructor opening up for some questions and answers, because often there's a pressing question. You won't be able to focus on the rest of the class if you don't get an answer to this question. So usually it's opened up that way. Then there will be a review of the module content and looking at the highlights. Instructors will not go through the module content, every line, every PowerPoint, every assignment, but we'll be highlighting them. There will be a learning activity. And again, that very much depends on what the focus of the module is. It could be a case study. It could be a little quiz. It could be a discussion, but there will be a learning activity. And then there'll be discussion about what you need to do in preparation for the next class to make sure that people are clear, they have the links, they understand how to get to the information. And then finally, a Q&A at the end, just to summarize again, to make sure that any concerns or questions that you have are addressed. So this is a class agenda. It's flexible for each instructor, maybe modifies it a little bit, but these are the kinds of things that you can expect as part of the class, the synchronous class. Now this is a pass-fail course. So you won't be given a percentage at the end of the course, either a percentage or a grade, but your success will be judged on the following indicators. You must attend at least 80% of the synchronous classes. That represent 40% towards the determination of whether you've been successful or not. Now, having said that, life happens. And when life happens, and if for some reason you are unable to attend, you must advise your instructor, and you and the instructor must determine how you're going to get the information that will be missed. Information will not be repeated, but I urge you to attend the classes, not only because they're valuable, of course, but it will just make life a little bit easier for you all the way around. So you are required to to attend 80% of the classes. Assignments will be worth 30% of your grade. The mandatory quiz, the one that I just spoke about, the pre and post quiz, you are required to do those. You will not be given entry into the course, the first module of a course, until you've completed the pre quiz. And of course, you will not get your success indicator at the end until you have completed the post quiz as well. And of course, participation is worth 10%. So really, and we appreciate, instructors appreciate, not everybody's a chatty Cathy. Not everybody wants to talk a lot in class, but really, you will be encouraged to participate to the degree that you are comfortable with. So this is how it's determined whether you are successful or not. This information is then forwarded to the College of Nurses of Ontario to let them know that you have been successful in this course and have now met the 9th registration requirement. And I'm happy to report from the TMU classes, 100% of the participants were successful. So hooray, hooray to the instructors, hooray to the supports at TMU, 100% were successful. And now I have the opportunity to introduce to you my most esteemed colleagues at TMU University. So first of all, Sherry Wan Hunter, who's the Program Director of Community Services at the G. Raymond Chang School of Continuing Education. So that's the Continuing Ed School at TMU. And Joanna Labib, who has suffered along with us so much in the development and been so helpful in the delivery of this course. She manages Students Affairs. She's a program advisor for nursing, again, at the G. Raymond Chang School of Continuing Education. I want to take this opportunity, not on the script, this opportunity to thank both of these ladies for how wonderful it has been to work with them, how responsive they have been, how really understanding of what your needs are. You, the students, what do you as internationally educated nurses need, and kind of how can we best meet their needs? So this has been just a wonderful project, and I'm excited to have been part of it. And take it away, TMU.
Thank you so much, Ruth and Bessie and Rola. On behalf of the Toronto Metropolitan University and the Chang School here, we are incredibly honored and excited to be a part of this partnership. For us, it's all about our learners. Many of our learners are newcomers to Canada, those of you who are finding your way into your jobs. That's what we do. That is absolutely who we are. So to have this partnership with CARE has been absolutely phenomenal. We just want you to be successful. One of the things that I just want to emphasize is that if you take one course with us, you are now a part of the university. You are now a part of the Chang School. We want to help you build your network. We want to help you continue your journey in lots of different ways. We have different types of courses, different kinds of networking experiences, mentors, and lots of people who are here to help you succeed. So we just want to welcome you with open arms and let you know that I don't know if you look at the Maclean's rankings for universities, but TMU is top for student services. We are here. We are all here because of the students. We have jobs because of the students, and so we just really want to welcome you. And the uniqueness of this program, which really emphasizes that time and space that you have with your instructor, that opportunity to talk about some of the challenging things that you're going to be facing, and knowing that you are not alone. You are not alone. You have a team of people here with you. So I'm not going to speak anymore. I want to pass it over to Joanna. She's usually the one that you will be meeting with, speaking with, asking questions about, helping to solve problems. So I'm going to pass it over to Joanna. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank this partnership with CARE. We've had so much fun. We've also ripped out some hair. I think you can see some gray hair, but it's because we care. Do you see what I did? Care. We're together here for you. So I'm going to pass it over to Joanna. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Sherry. And I do want to echo a little bit of what Sherry has said. First off, thank you to our collaboration here with CARE. None of this would be possible without this partnership, without the great team that's there at CARE, the support of Ruth and Bessie and the whole team. Really, this is why it's possible. Just a little bit of a background on myself. I've been in my role dealing with student affairs in nursing specifically for about 15, 16 years now. So I really do understand the struggle that a lot of our nurses are faced with. And really, my job at the end of the day is to make sure that your transition, your supports are in place, so that is just one less thing for you to have to worry about. We try and make our communication as seamless as possible. We try and, I don't want to say get you in and get you out as fast as we can, but we do know that you have an end goal in mind. And really, you're there to get the learning, to get the experience that you need, to be on your way so that you are able to now work in the field that you want without any added barriers. And our job, my job specifically, is to make that as easy as possible for you. So I do want to just again echo what Sherry has said, where you are lifelong learners. Once you come to TMU, once you come to the Chang School, I'll talk a little bit about some of the supports that are available to you on campus. You know, the minute you sign up for a course, you become our student. And then you have access to absolutely so much more than just a course. I'll quickly go over it, but again, you know, once you do make the decision to enroll, we give you a lot of information. We have information sessions. We provide all these resources to you, but just a little bit of a glimpse in terms of what you can expect as a TMU student, just beyond taking the TTP course. We have a massive 12-floor library where you have access to textbooks, electronic resources, study spaces, workshops. Everything is available to you through the library that you now have access to while you're taking the course and beyond. We have a beautiful building on the corner of Victoria and Gould, which is our Student Learning Support Center. And that's really what that building is all about. Every floor is targeted towards some sort of student learning support. We have math and computer support. We have study skills and transition skills where they offer workshops and one-on-one coaching where they go through teaching you how to study, teaching you how to prepare. And specifically, they have sessions in writing and language support where I know a lot of our nurses, English isn't specifically their first language. So they do provide you a lot of ESL support in terms of, getting the language down, writing, using referencing formats where you'll need it for the course, you'll need it for day-to-day jobs. So it's really such a good resource, and it's all free and it's all available to you to have to use. And honestly, it's such a great tool that I'm a TMU grad as well. I did my postgrad there as well, and I can tell you I could not have survived my undergrad and postgrad career without visiting the student learning support, specifically in writing and language support, where you think you have it down, but then you need a second set of eyes just to kind of read what you wrote, see if it's making sense, see if you've referenced correctly. So honestly, just it's such a great support. And I wanted to put that out there to you to let you know that you're not alone in this journey. You do have supports and they're there for you. So please use them. We also have different unions within the university, different clubs that you can join, specifically for our part-time students. Once you've decided to, you take the course, and let's say you want to enroll in a certificate, take it one step further beyond a course. We do have a part-time student association where they provide you with health and dental benefits. Again, this is for our part-time students. If you do decide to just stick around a little bit longer and take a certificate, but they offer so many other free services like legal advice. They advocate for you academically. If you have any issues, whatever the case may be, they have so many resources available to you. They have student discounts, they work with different vendors and agencies where they give you discounts as a student. So they're all on their website, and we would encourage you to definitely look into them. And then finally, we have, again, this is just such a small little portion of what's available, but one of the biggest key focuses that our students come back to and use constantly is our career center at the Chang School. We have a career specialist, a few of them actually, who, once you're done or even before you even get started, they can sit with you and have a one-on-one just to kind of plan out a career path for you. I know you're trying to get into nursing, but what they can also help you do is improve your resume, improve your cover letter. They can help you set up interview skills and talk to you about how to network and how to create a beautiful LinkedIn profile so that you're noticed. Again, so many resources that are there for you, and it doesn't end or with just one course. And this is just a little tiny glimpse, again, like I said, of what's to come. And finally, I did want to let you know that at the Chang School, we do offer bursaries and awards every single term for students who need it. Financial aid is available. And the most common one that our students use is their bursaries, where they apply for it every term, and then the school then awards it based on, I guess, your application, and it does range from about $500 to $800 for one course. We do have so the spring application session just ended, but we do have another one for the winter, which is our next upcoming enrollment period, which starts in January. I do have an email that if you're ready to enroll, we will send that out and just get you started with the process. But again, bursaries are available to you, and they're there. So just apply. Again, it's we don't have a set number on how many they give out. It's really based on demand and how they distribute the funds. But it definitely helps.
So this is kind of hot. Well, before I just mention that, I want to just go back to what Joanna said about when you're looking at where you want your career to go. I want to mention that TMU offers a nurse practitioner program that you may be interested in as well. So to just keep that in mind, another step in your career. I know I know right now what you really want to do is get registered and get working as a nurse. But just thinking of your career in the future, excellent nurse practitioner program through Toronto Metropolitan University. Now, this is an exciting piece of information, just hot off the press. In fact, we just confirmed this last week that Healthforce Ontario is offering temporary reimbursement of fees for IENs. So this transition to practice course is included in the list of eligible courses. The reimbursement can be up to $500 per applicant per course. I would urge you to go into this Healthforce Ontario website, because there are other things that are covered as well. Things like the jurisprudence exam, I believe, is covered. I think there's coverage for some language supports. I don't know the complete list, but please go in and have a look.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for pointing this out, because it is very important and highlighting the importance of extra funding. This is a very difficult time for all. However, investing in your education and continuous growth is as important. So I think we're here offering the best TTP course. And I did see Rola's hand up. Rola, did you have anything to add here? We have Rola Mobader, our program manager here at Care Center. And I think she had something to add to this point before we pass it on to Suzanne and Vanessa.
I just want to thank the team for preparing for this, both from TMU and Care Center. And I want to extend my gratefulness for all the hard work that has been put together to have this TTP course that is very valuable to all IENs. And I wish, as an IEN myself, went through the journey with the support of Care Center, had something that I can actually learn about the Canadian healthcare system, the Ontario registration legislations, and the kind of scope of practice and standards of practice in Ontario. And I want to give all the credit from Care Center. I know it's a teamwork, to the leader here, Ruth Woodruck, who actually had the vision to work through all the challenges. And because she's a believer that integration is the most important piece for your success and to thrive in a new environment. You have all the talents and skills as nurses, and you've been doing great all through the years of experience that you bring in. The only piece that is missing here is how you can translate this and transition it into a new workplace environment. And the TTP is the right course for that. So please do not hesitate to reach out to our teams, both at TMU and at Care Center for Internationally Educated Nurses. And just off the press as well, we just had a great accomplishment with the visionary leader, Ruth Woodchuck, and Ruth Lee, our executive director, that our book about globalization and integration of internationally educated nurses has been just published October 1st, and we have the official launching of the book on November 4th. So we will be happy to see all the faces here, all the IENs join the joy, and actually how we are blessed and grateful to be sharing the thoughts with five and the 5 countries are the US, UK, Finland, and Australia. And definitely we co-authored the book for Canada. So that's a great insight on how actually integration is very, very important. So I would encourage every one of you to take the opportunity of the TTP course with TMU, and also to get the opportunity to learn more about the significance of integration. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rola, so much for your reminders, as it is very important, the visionary work that you all do, guiding us and motivating us, encouraging and empowering the work to continue. So thank you very much. And I think I'll pass it now to Joanna to open the discussion with Susanna and Vanessa.
Thank you, Bessie. So we have with us 2 past learners who took the CBNU 200 TTP course at TMU at the Chang School. Let's welcome Vanessa and Susanna. If you just wanted to kind of give us a little bit of, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found the TMU TTP course experience. We'll kind of give you the floor for a little bit just to kind of talk about that. Let's start with Vanessa.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa. I'm an internationally educated nurse from Chile, specialized in neurocritical care. I worked for over 4 years in an intensive care unit where I had the privilege of caring of neurosurgical patients. I moved to Canada in 2019, and when I decided to continue my nursing career here, I know I needed the right support to better understand the Canadian healthcare system. So as a member of the Care Center, I chose to take the Transition to Practice program at Toronto Metropolitan University after my case manager highly recommended. It was also one of the first programs available for IENs. And the information on the website was very clear and easy to understand. So that really helped me feel confident about applying. For me, it was a great experience. I'm proud to say I was part of the very first group to start the TTP, which I successfully completed this past July. And right now I'm in the final step of my registration with CNO, and I'm truly excited to keep growing here in Canada and to bring my knowledge and experience to support the healthcare system.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Susanna, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Hello and good morning to all. Before I introduce myself, I would really like to take this opportunity to thank TMU and CARE for giving me this opportunity to share my experience, for making me a part of this. My name is Susanna Paraya. I'm an internationally educated nurse from India. I moved to Canada last year. So when I came to Canada, the only process that was left in the CNO was the 9th requirement, that was transition to practice course. So when I came across the list of colleges from the CNO that has the guidelines, and so thankfully I came across TMU, because as Vanessa shared that it was very clear, the website had clear guidelines. So it was very easy for me to enroll myself, and everything was online. I didn't need to go in person. So that made it very convenient for me. So, and I graduated in August from TMU. And now I'm just currently seeking employment here in Canada. And I'm also registered with CARE. I've become a member through TMU. So yes, and I'm currently working as a PSW now.
Thank you, Susanna. How we'll just kind of have a little bit of a conversational flow, just so you get a feel for what these ladies went through. Susanna, would you mind just letting us know some of your feedback about what you thought of the weekly live synchronous sessions and
Yeah.
how they contributed to your learning experience?
Yeah. So well, when I started the course, so when I got the admission in TMU, so when I saw the duration that was like 10 weeks, at 3 months. So I thought, oh my God, this is going to take too long. But when I started the course, when we began, I felt like time flew, like, because I thought it was going to be a very like a long lecture or something. But then when my instructor, Bessie, so when we used to have our one-on-one sessions, it was like, just not like a meeting or not like a course, but I was not felt unseen or unheard. I've seen people all across the globe, I mean, IENs all across the globe. We used to share our experiences, exchange ideas, because every country has a different way of working as a registered nurse. So the exchange of ideas, Bessie, she was very supportive. She was very approachable. She made all of us feel comfortable. And the key part of learning was, I mean, the lively sessions was a key part of my learning. So it made everything much more meaningful and easier.
Thank you. Vanessa, what aspects of these sessions did you find to be the most beneficial or engaging?
I think the most beneficial part of the session for me was definitely how interactive they were, as my partners say. By the way, Bessie is also my instructor, so thank you very much. I really enjoyed the live classes, like having the camera on and being able to participate in discussions made me feel like personal and engaging, almost like a really like classroom. I especially love the breakout rooms where we could share our opinions, personal experience, and what nursing is like in our home countries. It was great to learn from each other, building confidence, especially in my English, and I feel supported emotionally, knowing others were going through the same process as me.
Thank you for sharing that. Susanna, do you feel that this course helped you expand your professional network or connect with other IENs, peers, colleagues?
Yeah, absolutely. So after we completed the course, I got to register with CARE, and then we also as Vanessa shared, that we used to go into breakout rooms. So we used to have groups. We were divided into groups. So all of our group members, we created our WhatsApp group. We got to go to the nursing fair. That every nursing fair we had, we used to share with each other that there's a nursing fair going on here. So we used to try and meet, and this is how I tried to network. And I felt that I was not alone in this. I thought initially, to be honest, when I moved here, I was like, oh, this is going to take a long time. I really felt like going back at a point. But then TMU and CARE has literally pushed me, and Bessie has literally motivated me, that she's like, no, when I can do it, you can do it. So networking has really helped me a lot.
Vanessa, in what ways do you feel like these connections supported your learning or professional growth or confidence?
These connections really support me in my learning and growth. Sharing experience with other INs made me feel like understood and supported. I realized I wasn't alone, which gave me a lot of emotional strength. Talking with classmates in a safe and supportive environment also helped me to feel like more confident in my speaking, hearing different perspective, learning how nursing works in other countries really helped me to grow both personally and professionally. Same as Susana, we also create our WhatsApp group. We still use it today. And that ongoing connection has been really valuable and made me feel part of a real community. This sense of belonging and support gave me more confidence to face challenges and grow as a professional in the nursing practice in Canada.
So in terms of preparing you for the actual nursing workforce, what areas do you feel most confident in after you've completed this course? I guess this question's for both of you. Vanessa, did you just want to get into that?
I can start. Yes. So after completing this course, I feel much more confident in my communication skills and my ability to apply the College of Nurses of Ontario standards and guidelines in the real world situations. The breakout rooms discussions were especially valuable. They helped me to connect theory to practice by analyzing real nurse cases and exploring how the standards guides our decisions. This moment also gave me the chance to practice professional communication in English and learn from the experience of other INs, making everything more practical and real. And I also feel more confident in providing patient-centered care and navigating the healthcare system in Ontario. The interactive format and support environment strengthened my belief in myself and my ability to apply what I've learned in real clinical setting.
Thank you. Susanna?
Before answering that, I would like to say that CNO had started this TTP requirement this year in April. So I just had that one requirement pending, and I was like, oh, I was too close. So somewhere I feel that CNO has taken the right decision to add this requirement for IENs, because everywhere, not only in India, but all over the world, everybody has different practices in healthcare system. So the TTP course and through TMU and CARE, that really helped me to, communicate effectively and to enter the healthcare system here in Canada, because it not only boosts my confidence, but I feel that I'm not, before I was having the fear of being judged, but now I know I am confident enough that I can approach the client, not only the client, but the family as well. And apart from that, my team, the interdisciplinary team, and that, that we are a huge part of that team. So, and not only my communication, but I've learned a lot through educational videos that we used to have during our class. So we used to have videos like what's going to happen in the workplace, like medication errors and informed consent. We used to watch videos on MAID. So that all those videos, and we used to have debates during the breakout rooms. So that really helped me, that, how to promote patient safety, how to prevent medication errors. So all these things, and the most important, the importance of timely reporting, documentation, which Canada, the healthcare system here in Canada really enforces. So all these things have literally helped me a lot.
This is honestly so wonderful to hear you both share these experiences and this feedback. It's good for me to hear, and all of our peers joining online. So thank you to you both for taking the time to do this. Like, we really appreciate it, and we're so glad that you really enjoyed your TMU experience at the Chang School.
Thank you so much to both of you. Thank you so much it's nice to hear it from the other end. And it really puts everything together and makes everything worthwhile. And I know Kim is here too. I see your hand, Ruth. We have Kim here as well. She's another instructor and very supportive. We constantly meet to find ways to better support each other, to support our learners. So I don't know, I would like to give Ruth and Kim, would you like to add a few things there?
I just wanted to make sure we introduced Kim, but
Yeah.
you did that. So Kim English has been one of the wonderful instructors of the TTP at TMU. So thanks for joining us, Kim.
Thank you.
Perfect. So we do have a few questions, and thank you to Sherry and Rola for being active in the chat box. So Sherry has shared the registration link. You can find more information about it and how to register. So please take a look at that. And Rola has shared the invitation to the official launch of the book that she mentioned just previously. I will take some questions here, and I'll start from the beginning. There's another question from Rashana, and I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Can you please share how many hours online we have to be for each session for TTP? Should I go ahead and answer that? So thank you, Rashana, for the question. There is every week we do have the 3 hours weekly live session. And however, there's additional work and readings that need to be done throughout the week. So there's an additional about 3 weeks, 3 hours per week of readings, preparing for the assignments leading up to the live session. I also see a question from Anthony. I completed education in nursing in 2024. I traveled to Canada, so I have less experience. As it is required for CNO registration, do I still have the chance to take the course and meet the requirement? Absolutely, Anthony. If you have any questions or clarifications, I see there's some confusion there regarding your process and pathway, please connect with your case manager. And absolutely, as Ruth mentioned earlier, the TTP course is valid for 5 years, and this is something that will benefit you and is needed to meet your requirements with CNO. And I'm just going to jump into the Q&A. So Rupinder is asking, will it include physical assessment, medication administration, etc.?
Well, I'll just jump in there. Why don't I? I think that the answer to your question, it does not include physical or health assessment. That's a separate course that we offer through the care center. So you might want to have a look at our website. So it does not include that. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that this is really not what you would call a hands-on clinical course, but rather a course that looks at those kinds of aspects of practice in Ontario that you may not be familiar with in your own experience. Medication administration, I'm not quite sure exactly what it is you're looking for, but there certainly is a module that looks at medication. So I think that's covered, but the health assessment is a separate course. As I say, I encourage you to look on the website. We offer a very comprehensive, and as you all know, and again, it may be different from your practice in your home country, nurses in Ontario are expected to be able to complete a head-to-toe assessment on patients. And it isn't that you can't do it, it's just that it's not been part of your practice. So you'll find this course very helpful. That's a good question, Rupinder.
Perfect. And as a second question from Rupinder, thank you Ruth for answering that. Rupinder is also asking about a certification. Will they receive a certification afterwards?
Yes, you will be receiving an award of recognition that indicates that you have successfully completed this course. Of course, TMU sends it directly to the CNO. So within a few days of completing the course, you will receive the CNO will receive that, and they will mark it off that you have met the requirement. But you will also receive a digital version of an award of recognition that you completed this course with TMU.
Perfect. Thank you, Sherry, for jumping in there. And we have a question from an outside of Canada IEN, as we had many learners joining our TTP course from outside of Canada. Kinyunzi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Actually, Lucas. I'll use Lucas. It's easier to pronounce. Lucas is an internationally educated nurse. He's completed nurse NCLEX and living in Uganda. How can I get help in the transition to practice so I can get a license? Lucas, I assume you're a member of the PASS program, so we can connect through your case manager so we can send you the registration links. It's already in the chat box. And after today's email, just to let everyone know, just after today's session, you will get an email with important links where you can find to register and take the next step in starting the best TTP course at TMU. Anonymous attendee asking, I heard Ruth mention that the TTP is not a requirement for the nurses who are practicing as RPN and seeking to register as RN.
That is correct. If you have been working as an RPN in Ontario within the last 3 years and are now seeking to become an RN, you do not have to do the TTP course. The assumption is that you've integrated. The assumption is that you've already familiar with the information that's covered in the course.
Perfect. Thank you, Ruth, for clarifying that again. Another question, when IN passed to NCLEX. So if I understand the question correctly, you can take the TTP course either before or after NCLEX. If that's what you're asking, Tuesday Arabejo, you can do the course either before or after NCLEX. Another question, CNO requires me to do 600 hours clinical and relevant nursing course content. I'm just wondering if I can take this at TMU. So Mary, I understand that you need to meet evidence of practice requirement. This is a different educational pathway course that you need to do. And I suggest that you can connect with your case manager to discuss the available options to meet the evidence of practice requirement. All right. TMU TTP course will be covering your TTP requirement. Next question. I will be arriving in Canada around March. I just received my report from an NAS. Can't register with CNO yet as I don't have my PR. Can I register for this course? 100%, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing you in the next cohort, in the next section. TTP is the one required. Tuesday, I'm going to take a note just so I can better understand, and we'll connect with either your case manager or together to discuss what clarifications you need. You do need the TTP course for your RN application with CNO, if that is what you're asking. Augustine is asking if the course is completely online. It is completely online, asynchronous during the week of readings and preparation for the assignments, and 3-hour live Zoom sessions a week to go over, discuss, apply the CNO standards and guidelines in real life scenarios as discussed earlier. And last question I see here, as an IN, we're studying in Canada at a French program and upgrading English as second language. We'll need to seek admission for TTP. Moise, again, I'm going to connect with you because if I understand as an IN, if you are doing your EOP program or updating your education requirement through a French program, you will still need to do a TTP course, the 9th requirement, unless you're working as an RPN, or this program that you're doing is part of those requirements that Ruth mentioned that will cover TTP. So again, there's no one suit fits all. Your case manager will have to sit with you to go over that course that you're doing so we can verify if this does cover your TTP requirement or not. Okay, so one more question, sorry. I'm an RN under CNO, never worked as RN in Canada. What will I exactly learn from TTP? Looking for a course that helps in every aspect of my field. I have experience from India. Rupinder, I think I really love your persistence, and I'm seeing you asking. You're already registered and you're doing the right thing, trying to find ways to further advance and better prepare yourself for integration. TTP will help you with those different challenges, if I may use the word, that we INs face. And sorry for jumping in here, but I too, when I became registered 10 years back, 13 years back, I don't even want to count anymore. And hearing Susanna when she said that when she came, she was ready and this was the last requirement, and she appreciates that CNO put this requirement in place, I can verify how important it is. The differences in scope of practice, the differences in the standards and guidelines, the communication, the cultural pieces, patient-centered care. We hear it so often, but how difficult it is for INs to change that mindset from a physician-centered care system to a patient-centered care. And I see Kim as well nodding her head, and these are communication and discussions we have in those live classes. So Rupinder, I will connect with your case manager as well so we can see what other issues you may have to put in your service plan. I think the TTP course may not be required from you from CNO at this point because you're registered, but maybe what you're looking for to better prepare and support yourself for that workplace integration and advancing your career. And I'll leave it at that.
Bessie,
And
can
I'll
I just
pass it on
add?
to Sherry and
Yeah.
Ruth for the last words. Yes.
Well, I was just gonna I see Rolla with her hand up as well, but I also
Oh,
wanted
sorry.
to add that we had learners join us who were already working, who were licensed and then they were working already, and thought that coming back for something like this was actually helpful. So people are taking this course even if they don't actually need it as a requirement for CNO. And I thought that that was very helpful to kind of understand it, because it is about integration. It is about building a network of support to go through this transition to working in Canada.
I'm going to just jump in before Rolla, even although she had her hand up earlier, just to build on what Sherry said. So for those of you who may already be registered, I think employers will look very favorably upon your application should it indicate that you've taken the transition to practice course, because then they know you come already with some information that's really going to help you integrate. So as I say, it's not just for those who need it to meet registration, but as I say, as an employer, if I saw, wow, this applicant has taken the TTP course, so I already know they know about client-centered care, age of consent, confidentiality, those kinds of things. So I think it could make your application even more competitive.
Thank you, Ruth
and
and Sherry. I think actually you both kind of read my thoughts, and I'm gonna just echo what you said, and from an IEN perspective, and from the other side of the fence, and from the program manager. So I'll be kind of moving those those hats around, and just to remind you that the journey as an IEN wouldn't actually end by becoming registered. The journey of an IEN would start and will move forward, and as you move and advance your career the moment you become registered. And I still recall when the CNO asked me not to take anything, not just go ahead, do the CRNE at that time, which is equivalent to the NCLEX, which is the Canadian Registered Nurse exam. And I dived into the water, and I said, like, well, that's great. But then I hold myself on of so many years of experience as an educator. I went back and I like this kind of the comments from the IENs all over the world. And I took the health assessment course, which I found it's very important. Even with being an educator myself for so many years, I've never had hands-on, really head-to-toe assessment during my career back in United Arab Emirates. So that's first point. The second one, because I'd never worked in Ontario, so I went and I took the course without being, it was an option for me, which is nursing in Ontario at that time, which is similar to what we're talking about, how it looks like to practice nursing in Ontario and how it looks like to integrate and transition. So I really kind of resonate with Cherry's, Ruth, and everyone that even if you become registered and you're just starting to look for a job and you want to make sure you're preparing yourself, TTP is your course, and TMU, they did fantastic job and doing great job as well with our team. And the next thing that I want to actually encourage you as well, work hand in hand with your case manager at Care Center, because the case managers with this kind of TTP course would look at the other side of the transition, which is your resume, your skills by mock interviews, what you need to prepare as well as you getting ready to embark into the journey and to become actually a contributor to the Canadian healthcare system and a leader, a future leader for the Canadian healthcare system. So I'm just going to need to stop because I can go on and on with this. But I just want to share my both experiences from an IEN as a program manager and how these actually resonate. Yes, TTP, it's for you at any time in your journey. It doesn't have to be just to become registered. It's just to prepare you to the Canadian workplace and to ensure your transition is smooth and successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolla, for the very valuable input there and reminding us of all of all the amazing ways that IENs, the resilience IENs go through and face, and what the village or what teamwork can do. Actually, I'll leave it at that, and I'll pass it over to Sherry, Ruth, and Joanna to share the last words before we say goodbye to everyone today.
Well, I'll go first since everybody silence is consent. I just want to say again how much I value, and I want to thank TMU for engaging into this project with us. Obviously, from the testimonials we've heard, it's a success. And I just want to remind all of you who are watching, we need you in Ontario. We want you in Ontario. We welcome you. And at Care Centre and at TMU, we will do everything we can to help you launch a successful career and to integrate into the nursing workforce. So please stay with us. We value and we need you, we want you.
I just echo everything that Ruth had said, and we really are here because we want you to succeed. So we look forward to working with you and being here in Ontario, Canada.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And again, we will be sending out details on how to enroll. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to any of us just about taking the next step. And we look forward to welcoming you at TMU hopefully one day soon.
Perfect. Good luck, Vanessa, Susanna. Good luck to you all, and see you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you.